Things That Are, Day 2, Chapter 3, Voices. I step slowly down the stairs from my front porch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't walk down, I step, until I get my bearings. I step as if each footfall might be my last, as if I were walking along the edge of a cliff in the dark, because being blind can feel like that if you let it. But once I'm through the gate and on the sidewalk, I turn left and I walk with purpose, left hand on Gertie's harness handle, right hand on the brown leather bag that hangs from my shoulder. And to the casual observer, I'm sure I look confident enough, even self-assured. But every step is an exercise in faith, and that's okay. I think that's true for everyone. Being blind just makes the need for faith more obvious. And now I'm turning onto 55th Street in Hyde Park, just north of the University of Chicago campus. I'm on my way to the library. Walking a familiar route like this always puts my mind in this quiet, listening state. I get some of my best ideas for writing on my way to the library. And sometimes, when I'm at the library sitting in my study room, I can feel the books all around me, millions of them, and I picture myself walking among the stacks and choose a shelf, any shelf, and I walk along and let one hand bump along the spines. All those silent books. They keep their backs toward me. I stop and pull one from its place, feel the texture of the cover, and I open the book and smell that rich, deep scent of paper and ink and time. If the book is old enough, and the paper is thick enough, the letterpress pushed hard enough, I can drift a fingerprint across the page and feel the tiny impressions, feel the words resting there, all those silent pages at the library. And that tempts me to complain. But I don't let myself think about all those silent books I can never see. I think about the thousands of books in Braille, and thousands more in audio, more books than I'll ever have time to touch or hear, not if I live 3 lifetimes. So I don't complain as I step along the inky sidewalks of Chicago, and I remember why I always love the library, no matter what. So many good reasons. First of all, the library is out, and out is important to me. Second, the library is so alive, all that reading and thinking. Then there's the law. If I'm not attending my regular high school in the regular way, I have to give my advisor evidence that I've been doing school-like activities at school-like places, like a library. And keeping my teachers happy is important to me. This library is also where I met Bobby, where we had our first conversations, our first arguments. And Bobby is, well, important to me. And brushing past his name, I feel my heart expand, feel my throat tighten. But I snap into real time as a gust of wind hits me full in the face, cold and gritty, and I catch a faint whiff of Lake Michigan, which means I'm facing east, probably. Gertie feels the sudden hesitation in my step and freezes, yanks me to a full stop, and as if it was my idea, I say, "Gertie, wait. Good girl." I still feel the wind, and I think I still smell the lake, so that's a puzzle, because I ought to be facing south now, ought to be able to feel the sun on my face at this time of day, unless it's too cloudy, which it is, probably. So that means I've gotten turned around, probably. I hate feeling lost. Home to the university library is a 7-block, 18-minute obstacle course with excellent curb cuts and dependable ice and snow removal. And I've walked it hundreds of times with my white cane, and dozens of times more recently with Gertie. Doesn't matter. It's still easy to get muddled, to lose my step count, to lose sight of my mental map, especially if I start thinking about Bobby. Being lost is a lot better now that Gertie's with me. At least we're lost together. I have to keep reminding myself that the dog has absolutely no idea where we are or where we are going. She'll make sure I don't walk into a tree or drop into a pothole or get crushed by a taxi. But staying on course is my job. I pull off my right glove and touch the watch on my left wrist. It vibrates to tell me hours and minutes. It's 11:37, which means that the Carolyn and Rockefeller Chapel will chime in 23 minutes. And when I hear those bells ring out above the city sounds, I'll know where I am again. But I can't stand still that long. For one thing, it's too cold. For another, I don't have that kind of patience right now, and neither does Gertie. She hates standing still. So here on this corner that could be 55th and Woodlawn, or 56th and Greenwood, or 57th and Ingleside, I need to ask for help. Which isn't quite true. I never actually have to ask. I just need to change my face. The face I'm wearing now says, I'm fine, I know where I am, and where I'm going, and I don't need your pity or your help, so don't mess with me or my dog. It's a semi-tough, semi-self-sufficient sort of face, my alone in the city face. And standing here with Gertie, feeling her shift here, her way from paw to paw, eager to get moving, I realize something. When I'm not walking with Bobby, I don't think about my face at all. I think about his, and again, my heart sighs. But now I need to put on my lost face. A slight frown, eyebrows bunched together, right hand up near my face with 2 fingers touching my chin, a trace of uncertainty in the way I stand, and a tilt of my head. And I start a slow count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Need any help? 5 seconds. Rarely takes more than 10. It's a guy, young, sounds nice, probably a college kid. I smile toward the voice. Thanks. I'm a little turned around. I'm going to the Regenstein Library on 57th, between Ellis and University. Well, this is 56th in Ellis, and you're aimed south toward 57th Street, so you're not far. I'm going right past there. Want to walk together? No, that's all right. Really, it's not a problem. No, I'll be fine. Thanks again. But the truth is, I'd rather be alone with my own thoughts, because I can't walk with a complete stranger in silence. I can spend hours in silence with my friend Nancy, because Nancy gets it. She understands me. She always has. She's one of the only close friends I still have from back in 8th grade, back before the blindness. And I can spend time being quiet with my dad, too, and with Bobby. But with a stranger, there would have to be small talk. I'm no good at small talk, which is another reason I like the library so much. I can be with other people, but I don't have to talk to them, which qualifies me as truly antisocial. And there it is again, things as they are. Alicia, one quick question, if you don't mind. You again? I forgot you were here. I'm always here, sister. Sad but true. Your question? Don't you think the kid was just trying to be nice? And aren't you getting a little too comfortable being alone with your little heart dreams? I mean, what if you were supposed to meet that boy today? What if that guy you just brushed off was destined to become your new best friend, the one person who stays close, who stays true, who cares about you your whole life? First of all, Miss Nosy Brain, that was 4 questions, not 1. And second, butt out, okay? Besides, I don't believe in destiny. Not today, not ever. What is. What happens, happens. Period. Okay, no need to snarl. Just thought I'd ask. But I'll keep watching your little drama with deep interest. So kind of you. Don't I know it, sister? And stop calling me sister. You're in charge, sister. That bossy little voice in my head has been speaking up a lot in the past few weeks. Very annoying. But I'm glad she doesn't let me kid myself. She's so persistent and observant. I mean, maybe I should believe in destiny today, because maybe Bobby's never coming back to me. Maybe that dream is over, or maybe it's dying a long, slow death. But my heart pushes that thought away. Still, I make a mental note. Be more friendly next time you get lost. Because I know there'll be a next time. 6 more minutes of walking, and I'm in the broad courtyard of the library, and I'm thinking ahead. Because swinging doors, plus lots of pedestrian traffic, plus a dog on a harness are a challenge. And I know I've got about 30 steps to go when Gertie jerks me to a sudden stop. Again. Hey, great dog. Purebred shepherd, right? What a beauty. Can I pet him? Terrific. An uninvited dog lover, butting into my life, breaking my concentration. Happens about once a week. Which makes me want to say, would you ever suddenly grab the steering wheel of a car someone else was driving? Or would you reach over with your foot and stomp on the brake just because you felt like it? Because that's pretty much what you're doing right now. But I don't say that. I smile politely as if he's the first person who's ever asked me that question. And I say, actually, you shouldn't pet her. She's working now. So it's a girl, huh? Doesn't look like she's working. She's just standing here. Hey, can I give her some pretzels? As he talks, I hear the location of his voice change, dropping closer to the ground, probably squatting down in front of the dog. And I'm surprised Gertie's being so tolerant, which isn't like her. She usually tries to pull me right past and intruding in my ear. And I can picture this guy. He's got a sophomore voice. He's trying to make it sound extra deep and mature, and he's pouring his biggest smile into it. Kind of cocky, probably thinks he's heaven's gift to girls. Maybe 19, maybe a white baseball cap on his head, backpack on his back. Vonnegut novel sticking out of his coat pocket. Thinks he knows everything because he's smart enough to be at the UFC, and he thinks he's going to score some points with the blind girl by being nice to her puppy dog. Or he could be a really nice guy who's never seen a real live guide dog before. Dense, but nice. No, I don't think so. This one's an idiot. Time to move on. Look, don't mess with my dog, okay? And do some outside reading on guide dogs and blind people and basic courtesy when you get a minute, all right? Now, get out of my way. I pull Gertie to the left and march, my jaw clenched, half hoping that we knock this guy flat on his back. And if he wants to make something of it, fine, because me and Gertie, we've got him outnumbered. Sheesh, he says. Not very nice, Alicia. My name. In a different voice when he says it. I stop in my tracks and whip around to face him. You rat, you are the worst. Because now he's laughing. Bobby's laughing at me. Which is not the way I pictured his homecoming. Not at all. Chapter 4, Friend. Bobby and I are inside the library, walking toward the elevators. I don't know why I feel like I need to hold myself back a little, hide how glad I am to see him, but I do. So, want to hear why you're holding back? As if you would know what I'm feeling. Didn't you have your heart set on a tender private moment when your precious Bobby finally got back from New York, and it didn't happen? Too bad, huh? Not at all. In case you didn't notice, we met right out in front of the library, people around us, hardly the place for a display of affection. We had a nice hug. It was very sweet. Except it wasn't really what you were hoping for, right? I mean, you're being cheerful about it, but you can't fool me. And aren't you just dying to know how Bobby really feels about that talented and sensitive Gwen, the girl with the golden violin? It has to be completely on your mind. Am I right? And you're feeling vulnerable. Don't want to be wounded again. Just shut up, okay? And stop sounding all superior. You don't know everything. Not by a long shot. But I'm right about this one, Tootsie. Stop calling me Tootsie. Sure thing, Tootsie. I shut off the head chatter and prove that I'm not vulnerable. I say, I'm really glad you're back. He slips his hand into mine and says, me too. Long, cool fingers and a heart flutter. I can't help it. I manage to say, so how come you didn't say you were coming home when you called last night? He laughs. What? And miss a chance to surprise you? How'd you like my Joe College act out there? Pretty good, right? Pretty mean. You're just mean, Bobby Phillips. Mean. But he knows I'm not mad about that. We've been playing this game for more than a year, where he puts on a phony voice and tries to hook me into a conversation. He's got skills, and I'm blind. A perfect setup for an amateur impressionist. I say, I thought your last college visit wasn't till Saturday. He drops my hand, and I hear him push the elevator button, and he doesn't take my hand again. Couldn't he have pushed the button with his other hand? Did he want to let go of my hand? Overanalyzing. You're overanalyzing, Tootsie. He says, yeah, but I got the audition moved up to yesterday. And then I went to the airport at 5 o'clock this morning, flew standby, got home at 8:30, and here I am. The elevator door is open, and Gertie hesitates. She doesn't like small rooms with funny doors and floors that shake. But the three of us are in. The doors close, and we're going up. I say, so, like you had no sleep at all, right? You don't know it, but you called me up around 2 a.m., Chicago time. So it was after 3 o'clock in New York, and I heard you, still wide awake, arguing with some guy. What? What are you talking about? Sudden sharpness in his voice is a surprise, so I laugh a little and say, You must have sat on your phone, because it dialed my number in the middle of the night. And, like you heard all that? He's trying to sound neutral now, calm, but he's upset about this. No, I say, I just heard a little, enough to catch the tone, that's all. And the tone was... Again the sharpness. Now he's starting to irritate me. Like I said, it sounded like an argument, that's all. Nothing specific. It's not a big deal. But if you don't want people to eavesdrop, try turning off your phone before you sit on it. So you were eavesdropping, right? The elevator doors open and Gertie leads me out and takes a sharp right. She knows we are going to the room I always reserve. So does Bobby. I take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Look, I was sound asleep, my phone buzzed, and I knew it was you, so I answered. And I heard some talking for about 10 seconds, and yes, I listened, which is not a crime. End of story, all right? I was only saying that you must not have gotten much sleep, remember? Just a friendly observation, that's all. Friendly. He laughs and takes my hand again, but now it feels forced. Sorry, he says, you're right. Not enough sleep, I guess. Didn't mean to snap at you. We're walking along the railing at the stairwell to the floor below, and he says, hey, guess what? My parents are away until Sunday. Dad's talking at some particle physics conference in Switzerland, and Mom went with. No school till Monday, no parents around. Now, if I could just find somebody really nice to hang out with. Too bad you didn't let me pet your dog. The cheeriness still feels forced, but I smile and play along. Very funny. So, you want to come over for the afternoon, maybe stay and eat some dinner? He's asking me to come and be alone with him. But I'm confused, and I don't answer, pretending to concentrate on navigation. Because the fridge is full of food, it'll be good to have some time to catch up. He wants me to come. He's asking again. And we can be alone, and I can talk to him, because I have to. But now it feels odd, because I don't know what's going on between us. I want to spend time with him. I do. I need to. But something still tells me to hold back, because he's holding back, about what happened in New York, and about the conversation I heard last night. Why would he do that? And after I say what I have to say to him, then what? And look at us. We can't even talk for 3 minutes without arguing. Tootsie, 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 overanalyzing. What is your problem? Just smile and say, great. When should I come over? But I can't say that. I say, I've got a lot to get done right now for school. Can I see how the work goes and call you a little later? A 1 second delay, just enough to tell me he's surprised, but he hides it. Sure, fine. I mean, I'm just barging into your day out of nowhere. Absolutely. And he lets go of my hand. We're at the door of room 307, a music listening room where my talking laptop won't bother anyone. It's the same room where Bobby found me 2 years ago, where we had our second conversation, a century ago. I'm sure he's remembering all the time we spent here, because I am. It's not only that early conversation that happened in here. This room has been one of our sanctuaries, one of our hideouts. He touches me on the arm, and he's close enough for me to smell the toothpaste on his breath. So call me, okay? I smile, nod. I will, and thanks for coming to see me, Bobby. Good to be home. See you later, Alicia. I nod. Unless I see you first. One of our oldest jokes. A little laugh from each of us, and he's gone. I'm in the room now, and the heavy door hisses shut, and it's completely quiet, soundproof. I release Gertie, and I hear her move to the corner, walk around in a circle a few times, and then lie down and heave a big sigh. She's off duty. Nap time. Me? I'm wide awake in the dark. Hyper-conscious, leaning forward, both hands on the cold oak tabletop, and I'm replaying every second since the moment Bobby said my name out in the library courtyard, thinking of all the warm, funny, intelligent things I could have said, but didn't. Something feels so wrong, so empty, so lost. Again. But this time it's the kind of loss where I feel the dense darkness closing in around me, the heavy stuff suffocating me, drowning me, cramming me into a coffin, a premature burial, bleak as Poe, black as a raven, nevermore. But I know what to do when it gets this dark. I have experience with blind time and wounds. So first I make myself sit. I make my mind be still. I make my mind make my body be still. I breathe long, deep breaths. And then I listen to my heart. Not the thumping one, my other heart. The heart that knows the deep things. The heart that knows that the light is real. The heart that knows that the darkness is only light's absence. The heart that has already recovered from sadness far deeper than this. And I know that now I must do. Doing is important. Doing is evidence, proof that I'm alive, intact, still myself. Because the girl who is drowned in darkness does not sit down at the library table and light up her computer. A girl in a coffin does not find her audio notes and listen as her own voice tells her what to do next. A dead girl does not wipe her eyes and open a new document and begin tapping ideas into focus, making the words obey her. And as my doing does its work, now the heart that does not thump knows that nothing important has changed. And this heart tells me that soon I'll make that phone call to Bobby. I will. I'll call my friend. And my friend will answer. And talk with my friend. Friend. It's a bright word, and I hold it tight. Chapter 5, Watchers. It's going to be colder walking home. The forecast said it's going down to 5 degrees tonight. So I sit on the bench across from the front door security desk at the library and tie my scarf behind my neck so it covers my nose and chin. It's a nuisance, and I know it makes me look like a bank robber, but when it's way below freezing, and I've got to walk due north, it's not about fashion, it's about survival. Miss, may I have a word with you? It's a British accent, spoken by a man who's standing up, about 2 feet to my right. I turn toward the voice and give a neutral smile, which is stupid because I've got a scarf across my face. I pull the scarf down and say, sure. Gertie's been sitting to my left, and she stands up and leans against my knee, and then she growls. She never does that. Gertie, down, down, good girl. You have to pardon her manners. Not at all. She's a beautiful dog. I've never owned a shepherd, but one day I'd like to. One of the brightest breeds is what I hear, and excellent as guide dogs. Have you had her a long time? I smile and give Gertie a pat on her head. No, only about 6 months. She's the smartest dog I've ever known, and she learns really fast, too. The man's not moving toward Gertie, not trying to pet her or anything, so that's good, and I'm thinking our conversation is over. It was a dog chat. Then he says, there's something else I need to tell you. Goosebumps, up and down both my arms. It's his voice. He's dropped it low, almost a whisper. I know this tone. People use it for telling secrets. He says, I think your friend, the young man who came into the library with you earlier, I think he may be in danger, considerable danger. I feel him take a seat on the bench to my right. I'm short of breath. I don't understand. Gertie sits up, leans against me again. She can tell I'm afraid. Another low growl. Gertie, hush, hush. Good girl. Like, have you been watching me? No, not at all. Not you. Your friend. I've been watching him, and watching the two other people who are also watching him, the two that I've spotted. There may be others, and now that he's had contact with you, someone could be watching you as well, right now. In a flash, I recognized this voice. Fee, fi, fo, fum. It was an Englishman arguing with Bobby in my dream this morning, but I didn't hear this man's voice in a dream. It's a real voice. I heard him speak during a phone call last night when I was eavesdropping. I whispered, "You and Bobby talked last night about 3 in the morning, right?" I don't know why I'm whispering. Ah, so he told you about that. It was closer to 4. And yes, we had a talk, more like a shouting match, and he jumped into a cab with a suitcase before I got to tell him what I think is happening, before I convinced him how much I need his help. I've got to make him understand what's going on. And even though I've got my hat and coat on, I shiver because I'm picking up this deep agitation, almost a hunger in the man's voice, and I'm hearing desperation too, the same kind I've heard in the voices of kids I've tutored at the Hadley School, kids who can't face the fact that they're not going to see again. This man's in trouble. But I jump back to what he just told me. Bobby? I say, he doesn't know these people are watching him. No, I don't think so. There are 2 men. They're very professional. And the way he says it, the word professional sounds like a threat. But why? And why are you watching? Who are you? My name is William. And if you are who I think you are, your friend may have told you about me, about finding me in New York City. My heart almost stops, then starts pounding so I can feel each beat in my neck, in my arms, on my wrists, because Bobby did tell me a little. He said he'd found someone in New York, a man who'd had the same experience he had, a man who woke up one morning and couldn't see his body, a man who was sitting next to me in the library in Chicago right now. And I have to leave, run away, get as far from this man as I can, but I can't, because if Bobby's involved, so am I. And that means I have to know if this man really is who I think he is. And there's only one way I can find out. I reach out my right hand and I whisper, "Please put your arm here." He does, and I touch. I can judge how far away he's sitting by his forearm, and his elbow, and the angle of his upper arm. It's a thin arm, all muscle. Then I open my hand and push it toward him, and my palm hits bare flesh, a bony rib cage, 0 body fat. He's not wearing a shirt. No shirt in the library. He's right here on this bench. No one else can see him. No one else knows he's here except Gertie.